Researchers put patient S through a gauntlet of terror. They sat her in front of the most disturbing horror films they could find. They sent her walking through notoriously intense haunted houses and set up sudden, aggressive jump scares. Through it all, her reaction was exactly the same: absolutely nothing. Even when faced with immediate physical threats, her survival instincts never kicked in. When handed large, venomous snakes, she didn't recoil. Instead, she reached right out to stroke them, displaying a quiet curiosity instead of self-preservation. The biometric data from these tests is wild. During moments that would make anyone else panic, her monitors recorded 0 spike in heart rate, no sweaty palms, no rapid breathing. Her body simply refused to register a threat. We tend to view absolute fearlessness as a superpower, the defining trait of an action hero. For SM, the inability to panic is actually a severe biological vulnerability. This extreme calm is a symptom of an incredibly rare genetic disorder known as Urbach-Wiethe disease. This condition causes mineral deposits to build up in very specific areas of the body. In SM's case, jagged calcium crystals began to gradually accumulate inside the blood vessels deep within her brain. As those crystals multiply, the blood vessels harden and narrow. Eventually, they choke off the blood supply entirely, starving the surrounding brain tissue of oxygen until it permanently dies. SM never learned to conquer her fear. The actual physical hardware her brain required to generate it was literally turned to stone. To figure out exactly which part of that hardware was broken, neuroscientists mapped SM's brain using extensive MRI imaging. They found the fatal calcification clustered directly at the base of her brain, destroying 2 almond-shaped structures in the temporal lobes, known as the amygdala. This diagram shows the normal human brain. In a healthy person, the amygdala acts as the absolute command center for the fight or flight response. When you encounter something dangerous, the optical nerve routes that information straight here. It completely bypasses conscious thought, meaning the alarm sounds before you even realize what you're looking at. That alarm triggers a massive physical cascade. Your brain dumps stress hormones into your bloodstream, spiking blood sugar and priming muscles for immediate, violent action. Without this exact sequence firing off in the background, the human body is completely blind to imminent danger. To understand the depth of her emotional disconnect, researchers put SM through extensive psychological profiling. The tests confirmed her intellect and sensory perception were completely intact. Her brain perfectly processes the sights and sounds of a highly dangerous situation. But here is where the system fails. The sensory data comes in, but because the amygdala is dead, her brain never attaches the emotional label of threat to that data. Normal human interaction relies heavily on that emotional labeling. We need a functioning amygdala to recognize the look of fear on someone else's face, or to feel the unease when a stranger violates our personal space. Patient SM simply doesn't register those cues. That is the true horror of her condition. Her brain can perfectly see the monster standing right in front of her, but it is physically incapable of telling her to run away. Living without a threat detection system has severe consequences. Because SM cannot assess environmental danger, she walks through the real world in a state of constant vulnerability. Her inability to feel apprehension or understand personal boundaries has made her an easy target for manipulation, and she has suffered significant physical trauma as a direct result. And that brings us to the cruelest irony of the disease. Pain usually teaches us to avoid whatever caused it. Without fear, SM cannot biologically learn from past trauma to protect herself in the future. SM's case forced the medical community to reevaluate our basic assumptions. Fear is an evolutionary masterpiece, a highly calibrated survival tool, not a flaw to be cured. It acts as an invisible biological shield. It's the only innate conditioning mechanism stopping us from casually stepping off the edge of a cliff. SM's reality is incredibly stark. She navigates freely through a hostile, unpredictable world, completely blind to the risks around her. We spend billions of dollars on therapies, courses, and self-help books trying to completely eradicate our fears. Her life forces us to ask, what actually happens if we succeed? The answer is sobering. The terror we spend our entire lives trying to run away from is the very thing keeping us alive.